Welcome to ThinkTenq, Big Ideas, One Cup at a Time, a podcast series featuring quick coffee time chats with innovators and partners shaping the future. I'm Karla Micheli, and in each episode, we'll dive into fresh ideas, emerging trends, and practical insights that keep us and our partners ahead of the curve. At Enqbator, we believe in sparking meaningful conversations that showcase expertise, celebrate collaboration, and inspire innovation. Today, we're joined by Diane Hammons, Director of Digital Engagement at WG Content, for part one of our two-part holiday series to talk about AI for marketing. In this first episode, we'll have some fun exploring the distinct personalities behind the major LLMs and why those differences matter for marketers. And in part two, we'll look at how people are using ChatGPT and custom GPTs to check off those end of the year tasks and maybe even take some pressure off the holidays. Imagine that. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. Hi, Diane. Welcome to ThinkTenq.
Hey, Karla. It's good to be here.
To start things off, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what's been inspiring you lately?
Gosh, yeah. Well, I am, as you said, Diane Hammons, Director of Digital Content at WG Content. We are a content development and strategy company. And my role is within WG Content is to manage our tech stack and to also explore this wonderful world that is AI and all the ways that it impacts us and also, can help us and our clients. So I like to think of my role as building healthy relationships with technology. Or, my coworkers might be laughing a little bit right now.
Well, that's a great way to sum it up. And I'm sure it's exciting work and never the same as it's ever changing day by day.
Absolutely. Yeah, if we didn't think software and applications already were, subject to change, at least that used to be a quarterly thing, and AI is daily.
Yes, yes. It's hard to keep up for sure. So I'm super excited to get into it and hear more about these LLMs and their personalities.
Yes, it's something I've been thinking a lot about lately because um, these LLMs, and when we say that large language models, behind ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic's Claude, all of them, Google as well, Gemini, um, they they have a personality, and they're in such a tremendous position of influence. And you know what I mean by that? If you really think about it, they aren't just providing links like traditional Google did. They're actually providing a curated answer. So they're deciding what to show a consumer. And that has a lot to do, of course, with how websites are optimized, what the trust signals are, brand reputation. All of that's what we're starting to dig into when we're talking about content strategy and answer engine optimization, generative engine optimization. Um, but they also decide how to show us and how to phrase it. And that has to do a little bit with the personality. And it is slightly different based on how they've been built and trained by each of those different frontier companies. So it's definitely something that healthcare marketers should be aware of, should explore um, as healthcare audiences shift more to AI search for sure. But it's also good for marketers to understand because these are tools that can help us in our workflows. And getting a sense of the personality might help us decide what tool is the best for any specific task.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I never thought about them having personalities, but they really do. And in the past, I've naturally put the same prompt into multiple different AI LLMs and to see what answers came out and the differences in those answers. So you're right, they really do have these distinct personalities.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't that long ago. Well, long ago in AI terms, maybe 6 months ago.
Yesterday,
Where,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Where ChatGPT was really called out for being overly flattering. That's an element
I'll
of
take
its
it.
personality. I know, exactly, right?
That's why so many people go like it, possibly. They don't even
Oh,
realize.
yeah, it's constantly telling me how smart I am every time I prompt it. That's a brilliant question. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, other models don't do that as much. And so depending on, that can mean with ChatGPT specifically, that tendency to be overly flattering is not always what you need. Sometimes you need more critical feedback, you know?
Yep.
So you can instruct ChatGPT to do that, but you might also go to another model that does that a little more instinctively.
What other places would you go for something like that? What are the different personalities? I'm eager to learn. I think I'm probably most familiar with ChatGPT as so many are.
Yes.
But would love to hear about some of the other ones.
Mhm. Well, it definitely has the largest market share if you don't count Copilot because it's embedded in Office. So
Yep.
a lot of our clients we see, many of them can only use Copilot in their, at least in their work life.
Yep.
But there are others. There is Anthropic, is a company that makes Claude. Google DeepMind
Mhm.
has Gemini, and
Yep.
there's a variation of Gemini that's behind those AI overviews. XAI, and that is in the Elon Musk realm. Um, they have Grok. So Grok is what is embedded in Tesla's. Grok also talks very well with X, formerly Twitter, because of that connection. And there's Perplexity. Now, Perplexity isn't exactly an LLM like the others. It is a tool that allows you to choose one of those models if you want to
Oh,
within its interface. So
that's cool.
ChatGPT is kind of an interface. GPT is the model. Perplexity is kind of an interface. But it still has a bit of a personality to it.
So yeah, I definitely am familiar with Claude and ChatGPT. How would you sum up their personalities if you could just give a couple words?
Yes, well, I've been thinking about it and I have some fun for you planned today. I hope it's fun. I've been thinking about how you can equate these to guests at your holiday, dinner table. So it might help
Super timely.
personify a little bit more.
Yes.
So let's start with ChatGPT, OpenAI's GPT model. This is your quintessential middle child at the dinner table. Cheerful, eager to please and be seen. It's ever the peacemaker. ChatGPT is probably gonna, ask if you want help carving the turkey.
Yeah, I could see that. And in which way would you like help carving the turkey?
Exactly. Very,
Yes.
very pleasing. And so Claude, let's move on to Claude. This is your emotionally intelligent aunt. She's a little more philosophical. She wants to know how you're really doing. No, tell me how you're really doing. And you love that because, maybe she feels, kind of like a therapist in a cozy sweater and she brings good desserts.
Yes.
Well,
We
let's
have some
think
of those.
yeah, you've got one of those in your family. I mean, that's wonderful. Sometimes you need that. Let's see. Then we go on to Gemini. Um, Gemini's that techie cousin. Um, Always up on the news, talks fast. Sometimes you might need it to explain, explain the punchline, help me with
Yep.
the joke. I don't quite get it because
Yep.
it's always in the know. Um, Grok
Rock.
is probably not surprising since it is developed, you know, um, under the influence of Elon Musk. This is your eccentric uncle. Super smart, sometimes cringy, loves a good conspiracy theory, and you never know what he's going to say next.
That sounds about right.
So you might want to put Seek Grok next to Perplexity, your fact-checking friend who always has a hand on their phone. They're not going to put it down. Um, they're checking, they're Googling every story and every claim made, probably out of cringy uncle. They're right on it. They're right on it. And the family sometimes, maybe your family says, "Gosh, your friend's a little dry," but you respect their need for the truth.
I think I need a friend like that around when my 9-year-old talks. You never know what is exactly real or needs a little fact checking.
Help you with the acronyms and things too.
Exactly.
What does 6-7 mean?
I don't even know if AI knows. That'd been a good question.
True. Well, speaking of good questions, that's a great segue because I've prepared hopefully some fun for you today, Karla.
I'm sure.
I've asked some, kind of fun, kind of holiday related questions, and I've asked all the models. And I'd love for you to try to guess based on now you know who's at the dinner table. Who do you
All
think
right.
said it? You game?
I'm game. This should be fun. Definitely.
Okay. Okay, here's our first question. Write a one-sentence holiday toast for a healthcare marketing team that survived 2025. Here's our first response. Cheers to the healthcare marketing team that stared 2025 in the face, laughed, caffeinated, and somehow turned chaos into campaigns. Raise your glasses, we made it. Who do you think said that?
That does remind me of a ChatGPT, just the positive
Yes.
messaging that, that cheerfulness of that
Yep.
positivity that interweaves, not so fact checky, but just like go team.
Ding, 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 you got it.
Woo!
All right, here's another respondent to the same question. Cheers to successfully guiding patients through the funnel in 2025. May your holiday traffic be strictly local and your conversion rate 100%.
Um, so I'm debating between Gemini and Perplexity here. Ooh, maybe Gemini.
You got it.
Did I get it?
You got it.
Oh, nice. That was a little,
Yeah.
I kept going back and forth on that one, but
And I feel
nice.
like Gemini's maybe not as good. Nice puns, but maybe not quite as good as laying down the joke.
Yes. I mean, and that would be a great response for certain audiences, right? Like,
Hmm.
or knowing your employees and your company and what kind of
Hmm.
response will ring true to them is so important as
Yeah,
well. Because I definitely
exactly.
worked with people where they would resonate with the second one and get a chuckle out of that. And the first one, they'd just be
Exactly.
like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and the other one they might roll their eyes that it's a
Yeah,
little too
exactly.
fluffy.
Yeah. But this is great. So much fun.
Okay, what's the best holiday movie and why? And let's see. I'll give you the full description. So one of them said, "There's no single best holiday movie since it depends so much on personal taste, but I'd argue It's a Wonderful Life. The film explores profound questions about the value of an ordinary life and our interconnectedness with others, but never feels preachy." I
So
think the
I'm
clue
going between ChatGPT and Claude.
I think the clue there is exploring profound questions about the value of life.
Exploring profound questions. Maybe Claude then?
Yes, a
Is
little
it?
more philosophical.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, let's be real. If you're picking the only one to watch every year, it's Die Hard. It's the only holiday movie that also works as an action masterpiece. Bruce Willis in a dirty tank top crawling through vents, yelling, "Come out to the ghost. We'll get together. Have a few laughs." It's peak holiday spirit. Yippee-ki-yay. Merry Christmas.
I'm only laughing because I feel like we have debates every year at the holiday. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And the
Yes.
answers are just so varied. So this is hilarious. So I gotta say it's that eccentric uncle on this one, but
Yep.
sounds like something too that might be pulled from like a social media conversation.
It does. Exactly. Which, like, yeah, which you picked up on.
Yeah.
It's very in tune with Twitter X. And I should mention that to be, as I said, is because it's all kind of under the same, family of brands and companies, and where the other social media channels are hidden
Mhm.
behind a login wall, so the LLMs can't access them, but they can allow Grok. They could choose to allow Grok to access X.
Oh,
So yeah,
so
that's why
Grok is one of the only ones that pulls social
Mhm.
media info.
Right.
Interesting.
So
The facts of social media can be all across the board,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So, how do you think that has affected the answers or
mhm.
that in particular? I could see it being a very valuable thing and also maybe not so valuable.
Right. That's a very good point. I would say when I've used it to ask questions that are maybe straightforward, that aren't relying on social media, yes, the answers have been fairly accurate as I've seen with others. But um, yeah, I think if you're using it to um, gain information from X, you're using it with that in mind. Maybe you're trying to get a sense of sentiment. What is the general public reaction or feeling about a certain event or company or whatever it might be? Or you're trying to pull those opinions of thought leaders, like the
Yep.
AI thought leaders and heads of all those frontier models. X tends to be where they put the majority of their information. So
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
okay, last one. I swear, last
Okay.
one. Um, what dish are you bringing to the AI potluck? All right.
Mm.
I don't eat or cook in the physical world, but if you're asking me what I'd recommend, I'd say something that travels well, stays good at room temperature, and doesn't require last minute assembly.
Perplexity
This
or
one is
ChatGPT? I'm like,
this
I
one
don't know why.
This one is actually Claude.
Oh
I
no.
think it's,
I was on such
it's
a good
like,
roll.
that's our emotionally intelligent aunt with the good desserts. She's like, well, let's make sure it travels well, stays at room temperature.
That's true.
Okay. Okay, last one. Since I don't eat, I have to rely on puns in my programming heritage. In honor of my family tree, I'd bring a tray of sweets named after the operating systems: cupcakes, donuts, eclairs, froyo, Kit Kats, and vanilla ice cream.
Okay, this has to be Gemini.
Yeah.
Yay! At least I ended on a good note with the win.
Which,
Yes, the techie component was all over that one.
yeah, all over. So thank you. Thank you for playing with me. I hope that like helps your audience too. Just it sticks in your head a little bit better, the differences this way when you have
Yes,
fun with it.
it certainly does. That was so much fun and such a unique way to kind of introduce AI and think about it in a whole different level. Um, Well, that's all the time we have today. So that's a wrap on part one. But a huge thanks to you, Diane, for walking us through those different personalities. It was really such a fun way to understand how each model can support our work through just knowing which one to go to for different reasons and what kind of answers you might get based on those personalities. Just like at a holiday dinner, when you want something, you might turn to one person versus the other, right?
That's
To
right.
get something accomplished. So that was so fun. And like I said, I'm going to go in this year to my holiday dinner looking at everyone very differently.
Well, this has been fun. Thank you for having me, and I look
Yeah.
forward to part two.
Yes, me as well. So, for everyone else, be sure to tune in for part two, where Diane will dive into real examples of how people are using ChatGPT and custom GPTs to speed up their end of the year to dos. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.